Fear. We've all felt it before. Your skin prickling with goosebumps, the dread in the pit of your stomach. But what causes that feeling in design? That's the question I went into this project with, and I decided to look at a case study, Rodrigo Sousa's Playground. Like so many, I was immediately drawn to the trailer. The music, the dramatic lighting, the incredible creature design. I was so inspired and I wanted to create something like it. So very excited, I emailed Rodrigo Sousa. I was really interested in learning how he got his animation so beautifully rendered, especially those intestines slithering out of the gloopy man. But don't get too excited. He didn't email me back, and no shade. I know he's developing Playground into a much bigger project that I am incredibly excited to see. But he did do the next best thing. He released a making of video. One that wasn't only incredibly fun to watch, but also very useful. I realized things like the light trailing down the intestines were seemingly hand-drawn, and I realized something that would be incredibly helpful in good monster design, which is another reason I'd never moved forward with my comic panel. I always struggled with figuring out how my monsters would look. When I looked at Rodrigo Sousa's designs, one thing I realized, especially as he reiterated on his monster designs, was the mix between inhuman and human, and how incredibly effective that one tool was. Whether it be him changing the lizard he initially had to be a spider with huge eyes on his back, or the weird spider-like monster with human hands, I knew where to start, so I did. Starting with a completely irrelevant shape that you shouldn't look into at all. You see me trying to combine a squat creature with human eyes and hands, but not being satisfied. I try again, taking another random shape, and I believe combining that idea with a bat. I also started to try to make a bug-like design with, I'm just gonna say it, it's a pumpkin, it's too obvious to pretend. And I'm starting to feel like I got something, the interesting head design and the legs, but it's not there, so I keep iterating and iterating. Seemingly out of hope, my first monster design came scuttling out at me. One day I went down to the basement to find a freaking giant cricket spider staring right at me. Of course, like a normal person, I fled and abandoned all purpose I had in the basement. And right as the panic in my heart began to calm, I knew that's the element I was missing in my monster design. So against all instinct, I began looking up pictures of cricket spiders and I started drawing. I decided the human element I'd keep for this one would be the hands, which was a struggle, which is why I'm very excited to rely on video references for this animation. Then I decided to work on color designs. Next, I moved on to the second design. I wanted this one to be shorter, so it would be distinct compared to the lanky, tall monster. I saw a Photoshop creature I believe was called a bird mouth. That looks weird, right? So I decided my next monster would be mouth-focused. At first I tried a more bear-leaning mouth with eyes and bat wings. But I saw something that talked about how a human mouth with straight teeth could be more unsettling, so I decided I'd go with that. Also, I wanted to increase my human element in the mix. Finally, for the third monster, it was heavily inspired by the gloopy intestine man. I wanted a monster with interesting texture. So I decided to combine that texture with a hippo and a pumpkin. And I kept the human eye element with the human shaped eye. This one, granted, feels like my least human monster mix, but I still really like it. And I wouldn't have been able to make it without Rodrigo Sousa's The Playground. I'm still working on the animation, but if people are interested in seeing me stream some of my work, I'm considering doing that. Let me know in the comments. But before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And with that, it's time to thank my spooky and sultry patron. You help keep my cobweb-infested mausoleum a little less cobwebby. And if you become a patron, you'll get access to PNGs of monster designs like this, as well as the time-lapses and Procreate or PSD files, as well as your name at the end of each video. Till next time, bye. Okay. Oh, my foot's falling asleep. 1 second. Let me just move my foot without triggering the lights. My mom set up these lights in her closet, which is helpful when you don't have lights on, but not helpful if you want a spooky, nice atmosphere. Ooh, okay.